What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the Desert Classic. But before we get into that crazy tournament, we've got a giveaway to do. There has been so much enthusiasm and support, much appreciated for the first couple weeks of golf. I'm as excited as you are. For the second week in a row, I said if you leave, comment, subscribe, do all that garbage or whatever, on last week's preview video, I would draw someone to win a 1-year subscription to my site. It's DFS On Demand. So we already gave one away last week, and we will do it again here. So I've got this up. We've got 102 unique commenters. So you've got a 1 in 102 shot if you have commented on last week's video, and we will pick it now. Let's see. Here we go. The winner is Zen Care Bear. Zen Care Bear, congratulations. I'll leave a comment. I'll get in touch with you. We'll hook you up. But for now, on to the Desert Classic. All right, this week is a little wonky, so we're going to do things differently. So the Desert Classic, formerly the Career Builder, formerly the Bob Hope Classic, formerly the Chrysler Challenge, whatever you want to call it. This is the tournament where we get a 3-course rotation. So all players are going to be playing one round at each of the 3 host courses, and they will make a cut after 54 holes, and then they will go back to the main course. Actually, that's really the host course, which is the stadium course, for the final round on Sunday. So your golfers are guaranteed to get 3 rounds. The problem is, because they're playing 3 different courses this week, we don't really have any course history or good course history that we can trust. We have tournament history. We can look at that. And there's only going to be shot link on one of the courses, the stadium course. So we're rarely going to see highlights from the other 2 courses. We don't have a lot of data on it. So this week, more than any, is really all about feel. We're going to kind of talk about some stats, but quite honestly, everything's pretty skewed. It's not a great week for the viewing experience. Someone is going to jump out and shoot, 9 under on day 1 at the really easy course, and you're going to, burn all your lineups, but it's not the case. Let all 3 rounds play out. So we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to talk a lot about strategy this week. But before we do that, I actually want to just step back to the Sony Open real quick for a second. So last week, the Sony Open, really, really great event. Actually, believe it or not, one of my favorite events, maybe because it's just the first full field event that I really like it. But something interesting came out of it that I really wanted to point out, and it's this. So if you're not watching on YouTube, if you're listening, I'm showing the 3 optimal lineups from last week. The most optimal lineup was Kuchar, Leishman, Reavie, Putnam, Brian Stewart, and Hudson Swafford. What is to note here is that this lineup costs $48,100. The second best lineup costs $47,100, and the third best lineup costs $47,900. So leaving a lot of money on, and quite frankly, all of these lineups, so the optimal lineup scored 717.5 points. That would have won, well, obviously it's the optimal. It would have won anything, any contest. But sometimes we see guys hit the optimal lineup, and that was not coming close here. I didn't run it to see what the $5, the big tournament, what that score was, and if anybody, what that could have been like the 20th most optimal lineup this week. What I think is worth noting is a couple things here. We've talked about this for the Hero World Challenge. I think we talked about it, where the strategy of leaving money on the table is going to differentiate you in such a big way. But also, I'm trying to show you that it's not always a hindrance, right? So golf, more than any other sport, lends itself to leaving money on the table. And if you capture a few of these $7,000 guys who go off for, top 5s, you're able to build, the nut lineups with $48,000 or $47,000. So I just thought this was worth noting. I'll try to keep track of this as the season goes on. But I wanted to point it out because I think it's a really valid strategy for large GPPs this season. All right. For this week, I do have a cheat sheet, and I like the projections, and I like this the way to look at it here at the bottom, but we're going to kind of throw this away for a second and just kind of talk about general strategy. So with 54-hole events, obviously not a no-cut event because there actually is a cut, but these guys are going to play or be guaranteed to play 54 holes, so we're looking for birdie makers, right, just like we would for a no-cut event. But I also think the course rotation is going to be very, very important this week. So we rarely, if ever, do this on the channel. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring up the weather forecast for La Quinta. And actually, I guess I should talk about these courses. So 3 courses. It is La Quinta Country Club, which is going to be the easiest course by far. It's actually like the easiest course on the tour. And then, and you'll see it designated as LQ. And then you have the Nicklaus Tournament course, which is also a pretty easy course. Plays about 69 stroke average, which is about 3 strokes under par. And then you're going to get the Stadium course, which is the hardest. It's about a half a shot under par. That's the one that's going to have a little bit of teeth. So what we're looking at here is the forecast for this week. And there's really nothing to note here. Except on Thursday, basically Thursday midday from, 11 to 4, there's like a 50 or 60% chance of rain all day. Then it kind of drops down to, 7 or 8 o'clock, there's about a 25% chance. And then as the evening goes on, there's a few percent chance. And then there's really no precipitation in the forecast for the rest of the week. So this is up to note for a couple things because, yes, everyone is going to be able to play all 3 courses, but the conditions that they play them in and the order that they play them in, might benefit some guys, right? So if you play the Stadium course the first day, that might end up being a benefit or a disadvantage. So what I'm thinking here, and obviously it's early, I don't usually love playing guys that are playing either in the rain. Like I think rain, the conditions of wet courses are great. Soft, the guys can throw darts, but I don't really want them playing in the rain. So I'm thinking I want guys who are going to play the hardest course on Friday. And my thought process behind this being if all these courses kind of get soaked and a little bit wet on Thursday, Friday is probably going to be the best scoring conditions. Now, you can look at it and say, okay, well, give me the easiest course in the best scoring conditions. Maybe my guy shoots a 59. Maybe. I don't know how realistic that is. Everyone's going to go pretty low at the easy courses. But if you play the Stadium course in optimal conditions and you shoot like a 4 or 5 under, something like that at the Stadium course, you're in legit business. You're probably going to gain a lot of strokes on the other 2/3 of the field who had to play it in much more difficult conditions, or at least more difficult conditions. So that course rotation for the to play the Stadium course on Friday would look something like this. And I will this is a Google Doc that I just kind of threw in what round everyone is playing what course. I'll share this. It'll be in the description below. So I'll share this. So if we're looking for Stadium course on round 2, which is Friday, right? So that is going to be basically this group of players. And let me see if there's anybody of note here. I mean, you could kind of stack these guys, right? You could just stack the Stadium course on Friday guys if you believe there's something here. But the noteworthy players are probably, oh man, it's not great. Charles Howell III, and also it's a super weak field. Charles Howell III, Joaquin Niemann. Let's see. I mean, Duffner, is he still notable? Patton Kizzire. Patrick Cantlay, guy I like just in general anyway. Siwoo Kim is on this list. Hudson Swafford will be popular this week. So those are really probably the notables who are going to get the Friday Stadium course, which again, I don't know if it's going to end up bearing out. That's the time to play it, but I think that's probably what it's going to be, or it could be. But then I also do think that there is another strategy to take, which is play the guys who are going to play the Stadium course last, play it on Saturday, so that if they do make it to Sunday, they have played the course most recently, right? So this makes sense. If you're going to play the final round of a tournament and you have not played that course since Thursday, you are probably at a disadvantage of the guys who played it yesterday, played it Saturday. So if we look for round 3 at the Stadium course, the notables here would probably be Luke List, Putnam, Armour, Mickelson. Why did I say Armour? Armour, I guess, is probably not a notable. Corey Connors is in here. HV3 is in here. Who else we got? Man, this is such a bad field. Ches Reavie played well last week. Sung Jae Im played well last week. Justin Rose is in this draw. John Rahm is in this draw. So I will probably be stacking a lot of guys in those two tiers, which would leave out the guys who play the stadium course on Thursday, which I don't even know if there's any notables here. Bill Haas, I guess, because he's his course history. Chesson Hadley would be part of this group. Man, this is a really, really weak field. Wow, good thing. I mean, this kind of stinks anyway. Schwartzel, Charlie Hoffman are in this draw. Russell Knox is in this draw. So I don't know if you're really missing out on a lot of these guys, which might be a bad thing because they're, we don't get the advantage of fading some of the big names if we were going with this rotation draw. So keep that in mind. I think it is going to be really important. We'll obviously see how the week bears out with weather, or if you want to try to take some of the stadium course on Saturday, guys. What I will try to do, I don't know if I have access to it. I'll look. I'll try to look back at last year and see, or last couple years if I can get it, for guys that played the stadium course on Saturday, how they did on Sunday, or if there was some type of weather draw or something that we can look at. I'll go back and see if I can find some data on that. But that's just kind of my hunch to begin with. Outside of that, I've got all the course stats and stuff up. I've got all the projections up. I've got everything up on the site. But keep in mind, like when we go through the cheat sheet here, I have tournament history. Don't let that be confused with course history in some spots, right? I just think this is a week to kind of throw this out and make your feel lineups, your gut lineups, which is, something I never ever say. Make those lineups and see where it takes you on Saturday and Sunday. But just to kind of talk about some of the guys that I think are pretty good plays for this week, personally. We've got the top of the field here. So there's 5 guys over $10,000, and Adam Hadwin is one of those guys, right? Charles Howell III, Patrick Cantlay are over 10 grand. Then you get Rahm and Rose at the top. This is the point that I make all the time where it's like the studs have such a better expected value in these tournaments than the rest of the field. Like in no world should Adam Hadwin be $10,000, like in no world. So that like DK has to make the pricing like that because they have to be able to, you have to be able to make options. You can't have Rahm and Rose and then everybody else at $7,000 like they probably should be. But let's just run through here. So as far as the top goes, Rahm did fall into one of our favorable draws. The last couple of times we've seen him, he won the Hero World Challenge. He was 8th at the Tournament of Champions. He is your defending champion. He's going to be super, super chalk. Rose seems to be the guy that's falling under owned here. He's $10,000. Or I'm sorry, he's $11,000. Excuse me. We've not seen him, I guess, in at least the tournaments that I have here, right? Which is I don't know. I don't remember what he did at the Hero. Did he play the Hero? But we have the Dell Technology Championships, the BMW, the Tour Championship, and the WGC were the last 4 starts that I have here on my sheet. No worse than a 4th in any of them. The concern, I suppose, is that he's playing the new equipment this week. We don't know how that's going to bear out, but he seems like he's going to be under owned. He's the number 1 player in the world. I'm not sure that's the best idea. I'll probably be pretty big in on Cantlay, but let's just move down a couple of tiers here. Back on Abraham Answer and probably going to lean on guys who played last week a lot, right? Some of these guys we have not seen, like Phil, we have not seen since Phil versus Tiger, right? Like we literally haven't seen him. So I'll lean on guys that we've seen most recently, and there are a couple of guys stand out in terms of the pricing. Patton Kizzire here at 8,700 seems wrong. Okay, we played him last week, played really well, made a bit of a charge on Sunday, finished 13th. That is 3 straight top 15s, having a really good swing season. He should not be less than Brian Harman. He should not be less than Kevin Kisner, who is terrible at golf right now. He should not be less than Scott Piercy, Ches Reavie. Like that's a misprice. So I guess we're gonna have to get back on Patton Kizzire again this week. He has played here 3 times in the past, hasn't done better than 50th or 42nd, but I just think that price is wrong. He's playing too well. He's a kind of a tier ahead of a lot of these other guys. Swaffer's the same way. So Swafford at 8,300 because he is a past champion, because he played well last week. He's going to pop up on a lot of people's videos and podcasts and everything. He will be chalky for a reason. If you are looking to pivot off of him, Sunjay Im, who is finished 16th last week, played really well, now has his PGA Tour card this season. We're going to see a lot of him. Only $8,100, and he was in that good draw that we were looking at. And I've already heard a little bit where I think Swafford's going to be popular. I think Bo Hostler's going to be popular. Sunjay, right in the middle, $8,100, probably gets left alone. All right, who else? Down here, I'll probably get, we're in the mid sevens now. Corey Connors will be popular after his third place last week. I'm okay kind of trying to get back on Joaquin Niemann, right? I think this is a pretty good spot for him. I don't remember what his draw was. I can go back and take a little bit of a peek, see what his draw was, but he's got basically a similar skill set to the guys towards the top of the field that we would expect to find success here. And then when you're going down into the sevens, what you're going to find are, let's see. Oh, here was Ryan Armour, why he stuck out in my mind. 3 straight top 20s during this swing season. Let's see if we can find anybody with some good tournament history. Brian Stewart's posted a couple of top 10s here. He played well last week. Couldn't you fire him up? You'd have to know he was pretty risky considering before the 8th last week, he missed 3 straight cuts, and he's missed 2 straight cuts here at the Desert Classic. Almost called it the Career Builder. But for $6,900, if you wanted a flyer, he's probably a pretty good one. Where else we at here? Man, some of these guys are really bad. That's why there's just the value's wrong in the middle. I think they get the bottom right. I think they get the top right, but they really get the middle wrong. Yeah, it's really bad here. Johnson Wagner's had a couple of good rounds here in the past, but you won't get me on him. So I'll probably be making some pretty balanced lineups. I will be stacking some of the course draws. So just 6 guys who are going to play the stadium course on Saturday, or give me 6 guys who are going to play the stadium course on Friday, because I think the weather is going to be most beneficial. So you'll see me do that. I think this is a really important week to follow me on Twitter, because there's going to be a lot of additional research that comes out when you've got 3 courses and you've got a lot of moving pieces. I will tweet it all out. So follow me. It's at DFS on demand. You can leave a comment below if you think you have a couple of ideas of what you want to see. Shoot me a message. But good luck this week. It's going to be kind of a crappy one, but it should be fun to watch for a couple of days, and then we'll get into like Torrey Pines, and it'll just be the absolute best stuff. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck.